Well, hello, EKN Nation. Welcome to a new edition of the EKN Debrief. Rob Howden alongside David Coles. We'll talk about this past weekend's Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals 9, the biggest four-cycle race in the country, biggest four-cycle race in the world, taking place this past weekend at Newcastle Motorsports Park. This is episode number 156. It's Tuesday, September 30th, 2025, and this week's show presented by Franklin Motorsports. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry with over 50 years of combined karting experience, and they can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. They specialize in IME engines, tilt seats, and of course, their championship-winning Merlin chassis. They've been supplying racers with start-to-finish support at race events for years, from providing a helping hand on a weekday test outing or at a club event, to full arrive and drive packages at the highest level of karting competition. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com. All right, David Cole, let's jump into this thing here. I'll give you the overview. This event, the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals 9, taking place this past weekend, September 25th to 28th. We'll talk weather. The bottom line is back to the home of this event, Newcastle Motorsports Park, for the 9th straight year of this fantastic race.
Yeah, the Grand Nationals. That's what everybody was working towards over the last year. You go from the South Divisional, you go North Divisional, you go the East Divisional, and even up in Canada. Again, lots of racers across North America preparing for this event. And again, an amazing, massive undertaking that is the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals.
Yeah, Dave, before we dive, of course, into this event, a lot of great racing throughout the weekend, a lot of action, a lot of chaos, a lot of turmoil, a lot of controversy as well. But I think it would be good, obviously, our first podcast since the weekend, to talk about a tragic incident that happened in Pittsburgh this past weekend as well at a road race event when one of the industry veterans, a good friend of all of our, Chubba Budashow, passed away after a wreck at the racetrack driving his 125cc shifter. Of course, the industry, the community, kind of learning all about it here early today. We had it on eKarting News. His sons, Robbie and Andrew, were able to get back and be with him. Just sad news that came to us throughout the weekend.
Yeah, it happened on Saturday morning, practice sessions at Pittsburgh International Race Complex. I didn't know anything about it. Normally I get some inside information, but I didn't. I talked to Keith Champagne, who is a former road racer himself, along with me. And he mentioned something to me. So then that's when I hit my sources over there and didn't quite get all the full information. I talked to my father, who was there, and he just said, it was just not a very good incident that occurred. And again, our thoughts and prayers are with the Budojo family, Andrew and Robbie. This one really kind of hits home. So.
Yeah. Again, a gentleman that's been in our sport for a long time. If you're around, obviously Checkered Motorsports, Greyhound Seats, all the stuff they've done, Sandy Competition. They've just been kind of there, right? With Magic Kart USA, they were there with PCR. Just one of the core teams, both regionally and nationally. On Chubba, of course, the patriarch of the family, the Budashow family. That larger than life personality, right? Always the big hug and everything. He was just that guy that you always wanted to get a chance to see in the paddock, and it's just tough. It's tough when something like this happens. We all race. Every one of us knows that when we get into a kart, that could happen, right? That's the dangers of the sport, and we're of course very sad. And again, as you said, thinking about the family today.
Yeah, no personality quite like his. That certainly is true, and it's not just a saying. He really was something different, unique. Because you see Andrew and Robbie, they're kind of a mixture of Chubba, of course. Andrew more on the wild side than Robbie, but yeah, definitely. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree for those two, and again, my thoughts are with them.
Yeah, it's good. And it was fantastic, of course, to see the outpouring of support and emotion from the karting community, and again, the passing of Chubba. So we'll move into the race report now. Thinking of him, David, let's have a look. We did have great weather throughout the weekend. There was some rain that happened. In fact, I think when we walked out the door on practice day morning, it was pouring rain. So I had a coffee out on the deck of the Airbnb, the porch, and I'm like, oh, we're not getting on track yet. So Not many people took to the track for the first half of Thursday because it was pouring rain when we got there. It did dry out for the remainder of the day. So 2 good dry sessions for the remainder of Thursday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, though, David, Chamber of Commerce, mid-70s, sunny, almost too hot on Sunday for a late September weekend.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Mid-70s. I saw 80s. I know it was at least 80.
My watch never showed my watch. Oh, it was 76 or 77.
Oh no, it was in the 80s. Especially on Sunday, come midday, it was at least 84, 85, if that. So
I never saw that on my phone or on my.
Your
watch.
Phone must be Canadian and telling you Celsius.
Well, if it was 76,
I was out on the racetrack and it was warm. Let me tell you. That was one of the things I was talking with a lot of people, and I just said, this is, and they finally reminded me, hey, this is 2 weeks earlier than what we were last year. I go,
we have race
right.
in October. Yeah, you're
So
right.
yeah, but last year, it was considerably warm for the time of the year it was. So, but yeah, it was definitely warm on Sunday, the warmest of the 4 days that we did have. So it definitely was unique, a lot different than what we're used to for Cup Karts weekend.
We dove deep into the by the numbers in the Outlet preview podcast and talked about the fact that the numbers were down by about 50%, about 10% down, essentially from 2024. That happens a lot of the times when a race hits the high water mark, and you get the busyness of it. You get some of the on-track action, which maybe is a little more chaotic than a smaller event. 285 entries in 2024 as the biggest one ever. Still 532, the second biggest race in the history of the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals. Great numbers all around. Senior median, the highest, David, at 104. Big numbers for other categories as well. Obviously, the senior class is not surprising. 86 in light, 62 in heavy. 47 drivers in the Legends categories that I raced in. So the second biggest amount of Legends over the 5 years that race has been part of the program.
Yeah, it's again, massive numbers across the board. Not exactly what we had last year, but again, you're going to have some of that with a busy year. I mean, we're in September now, so it's essentially 9 months of racing. It's been nonstop across the board. Again, we talked already about 4 divisional programs that Cup Karts has. There are 3 major races with the winter nats, spring nats, and summer nats. So again, a lot of racing happening going on. But again, there is still room to grow. They have the opportunity to do that if so be. The paddock was obviously spread over into what we would call the super mile section area of the facility. So yeah, it was big. Looking at never mind. Let me do some research. I'll get back to you on the weather.
You got some more stuff? All right. Well, listen, hold on to that. We're going to go to a commercial. When we come back, if it's popped back in your mind, you can bring it back up. Otherwise, we're going to dive into the paddock pass. And you can make it a highlight in the paddock pass section. Again, underway, folks, with the debrief, wrapping up our trackside coverage of this year's Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals. We'll be back after this.
Welcome to AIM Sports and the groundbreaking Micron 6 karting data logger. Since its inception, AIM Sports has been at the forefront of motorsport technology, revolutionizing how racers gather data. From its early days, AIM has tailored its innovations to provide precise insights, allowing racers to fine-tune their strategies and push their limits. Fast forward to today, and we're excited to celebrate 30 years of Micron by introducing the latest evolution in karting data loggers, the Micron 6. Designed with cutting-edge features, including 25Hz GPS with mil-spec precision, a 6-axis inertial platform, shift lights and alarms, temperature inputs, and a host of wired and wireless expansions. With 2 CAN buses, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi, it's perfect for karting enthusiasts looking to enhance their game on the track. With its advanced suite of sensors, high-speed data acquisition, and easy-to-use interface, the Micron 6 delivers unparalleled performance on track. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, this powerful tool helps you analyze every turn, every lap, even every heartbeat. Imagine a tool that not only records your lap times, but also analyzes parameters like speed, tire temperature, driver inputs, and engine performance. With the Micron 6, you'll gain insights that can shave seconds off your times and elevate your skills behind the wheel. Don't just drive, be data-driven. Join the AIM Sports community today and equip yourself with the Micron 6. to take your karting experience to the next level. Visit aimsports.com to learn more. AIM Sports, 30 years of Micron.
Established in 1999, PSL Karting has become a powerhouse within the karting industry for North America and around the world. PSL Karting is your complete source for all Burrell Art products as the North American importer, providing this top quality product through both their expansive dealer network or through the PSLkarting.com online store. Whatever you need is available 24/7 online, including safety gear, parts, components, and full karting packages. All three brands, Burrell Art, Ricardo Kart, and Charles Leclerc Karts, are in stock and ready to hit the track. Grab your winning chassis for any category by visiting PSLkarting.com to find your nearest dealer. PSL Karting is always looking for interest in new dealers and teams to help create new business relationships. Drivers looking to take their talents to the next level can join the Burrell Art North America race team, competing at all the major U.S. and Canadian events this season. When you're ready to win, go with PSL Karting. Welcome back to episode 156 of the EKN Debrief, talking about the CKNA Grand Nationals 9 this past weekend at Newcastle Motorsports Park. The broadcast today, podcast rather, brought to you by Franklin Motorsports. The segment we're rolling into, the race report, or rather the paddock pass, will be brought to you by Margay Racing. Check out Margay Racing's Spec Ignite class and their Arrive and Drive packages. Nothing matches the affordability and competitive level of the Ignite program. It's where the best driver wins over the best equipment. Bring your safety gear and Margay will take care of the rest. This year's Ignite Majors included the Quincy Grand Prix, USAC Karting Elkhart Riverwalk Grand Prix, and the Rock Island Grand Prix on Labor Day weekend. The Midwest-based Ignite Challenge Series will hit 5 different tracks in 2025, and be sure to find a club running Ignite class in your part of the country this season. For more information, please visit ignitekarting.com today. Get off the couch and into the seat. You did that yourself, David. You actually did a little bit of Margay racing again this year. I did not get a chance to drive a Margay this year. It's been a while.
Yeah, and there was only, I think, one Margay at Cup Karts North American Grand Nationals. That was Ray Speckman.
Yeah, I think you're right. Okay, let's jump into the paddock pass here. A bunch of stuff going on. First and foremost, one of the sponsors that was added to this program was the Toyota GR Cup, which is a spec sports car series that runs here in North America. They teamed up with Cup Karts North America to offer a pretty cool prize package for a number of top drivers on the weekend. David, give us some more information about what Toyota GR Cup brought to the program.
Yeah, just that they were trackside. I mean, they were there. Their focus right now is Karts to Cars program scenario, and they're looking at grassroots racing. What better place to go than Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals? Spoke to them a little bit on trackside. Again, I think they said 80 or 90% of the drivers they have in their program right now are from karting, including Weston Workman, who's leading the championship chase in that program. But
actually won the championship. He already won the championship.
Yeah, I think they have one more race left. So yeah, I didn't know if it was actually, if they called it already. I wasn't quite sure about that.
Yeah, he locked it down. Weston locked it down. Former Carter, for sure, 100%. One of the cool things, David, just the top of my mind, I'm not sure exactly which drivers they picked, but a number of drivers are getting an opportunity to go down to their training center in North Carolina, which I think is super cool. Of course, Toyota with a major connection, not only through the GR Cup, but also with NASCAR as well.
Yeah, it's with the I believe it was a top 3 in senior light and senior medium. So those drivers are provided the opportunity to be able to go down to Mooresville, North Carolina, and take part in their driver training program they have down there.
Amazing stuff. That's a great opportunity for these young drivers. One of the big things on the weekend, David, CKNA has brought in their own camera system. We saw them setting it up throughout the early part of the week. So a new camera system for CKNA. It's going to be something that they're going to have to dial in, get your systems behind. So obviously first time kind of getting that rolling. But I think it'll be good moving forward once they're really able to utilize that.
Yeah, again, majority of the programs here in North American karting are going to, the camera marshaling system to be able to look back and see exactly what happened in specific corners on the straightaways. and even more areas of the racetrack as well too. So yeah, this was their first time doing it themselves. Last year they did have, I believe, the NKA people on track and on site to help provide some assistance to the race direction that was going on. There was a lot of tramline violations used through the camera system, a lot of obviously overcalling or calling penalties around the racetrack. So yeah, it's again, everybody's got to get into their own groove and rhythm, much like driving. And so yeah, this was kind of their opening lap with the marshalling system.
It's a tool, right? And once they're able to fully leverage it and optimize it, it's just going to get better and better. And ideally, will provide even cleaner racing, as people know that they're listen, folks, you're being watched. Whatever's going on the racetrack, they have eyes on you. We'll see how that plays out for 2026 and beyond. We talked about Toyota GR Cup coming on as a presenting sponsor of the event. Another sponsor coming on board late in the going, actually very close to the very start of the event, actually, was the fact that Stilo USA came to board to partner up with CKNA, and they offered a bunch of carbon helmets for these young drivers in this sport. Those are in the top 5. What a huge program for Stilo USA to come to the plate with CKNA.
Yeah, top 5 finishers in Kid Kart, Cadet, Sportsman, Junior were all awarded a new Stilo helmet. And then the winners in the senior categories, along with Masters and Legends, those winners in those categories also received a Stilo helmet as well.
Pretty impressive. One of the big things about the weekend, as we all know, is the opportunity to get to race under the lights. And really, it happened for my group, obviously, Legends, where we were on the Friday night. We ran our heat races under the lights. It's about, I think it's like 7:30 or 7:40 was sunset time. The only racing under the lights on Saturday actually ended up being the out of the box challenge. But man, that was a lot of fun to watch for sure. There's just something about racing under the lights. I love it. I think it's a ton of fun. A couple of drivers that I was with were saying, did you have trouble with the visibility? I personally didn't. I love it. I just think karting looks so good under the lights.
Says the guy that needs glasses to read his phone. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the phone.
I know.
I can see it. I actually, just so you know, I just got my eyes checked before I came down. My distance vision is still strong, which is great.
Yeah, but no, it again, if it's something you're not used to, it's obviously a different viewpoint, and hitting your marks and being able to see, the visual, what's the word? Landmarks.
Yeah.
It definitely, because depending on what light systems you're using, that's the kind of the hard part, because those lights aren't like what we get at Daytona International Speedway or even Trackhouse or some of these other kart tracks that have permanent lighting. It's not the big professional the Musco light systems, right? Where it's like, yeah, it does kind of mess with your vision a little bit if you're not used to that type of lighting, and especially if you're zooming around a racetrack. You go from dark to light to dark to light.
And Dave, there's no practice in it either.
Yeah, and some of the lights aren't positioned in where they should be. So that it's a different challenge. And so, yeah, we did it last year. We did it again this year. This was version 2.0. And as you said, the ones on Thursday actually got to race under the lights around Friday because of the way the schedule was. I think qualifying for the afternoon groups just wrapped up prior to putting on the lights for the heat races, because that was kind of right as the sun was setting. So, with the way the schedule worked out for Saturday, it wasn't, I think we got all the heat races in before the lights even went on. So
yeah, we did.
So they didn't actually get to race under the lights, those categories there, which I guess when you're talking kid kart and cadet and sportsman, I guess it's a better opportunity for that, just
Sure.
So that way it's not another hurdle they have to go through. I'm kind of hit or miss on it. We'll see what they do if they decide to bring it back. Obviously, with the way the schedule is, who knows? Because that Friday is such a long day. We're on the racetrack for nearly 12 hours.
Yeah, no doubt. The one, as I said, on Saturday night, the one event that did get on the track under the lights was the Out of the Box Challenge. This year focused on the junior category. David, seemed like everybody's kind of a little bit more prepared for this one here. The guys that won the actual Out of the Box Challenge to get the Briggs out of the box and prepared and fired up quickly. Man, they knocked down a pretty quick time. That was obviously the first part of it, was to get the engine out of the box built, and of course on the karts and some testing, and then the racing itself the race was fantastic at the very end. They actually ran the shorter course, not the full course for the race itself.
Yeah, very similar to last year. It was the kid kart layout, which, Rob, I keep looking at it. I'm like, man, maybe this might be the better layout for the Grand Nationals as a whole. Because Briggs Racing, very close, very tight knit, and that's what you get. So a lot of it, again, boils down to kart and driver, and that's essentially what it was in this out of the box challenge. Because again, all these engines came straight out of the box, nothing done to it. This year's changed a little bit because they did it all at night rather than doing the build during the day, and then later on, being able to work on it, do this or that to it. It was all bang, bang, bang. So it was a good, quick hour and a half show for everybody to enjoy the barbecue that was hosted by Cup Karts and Newcastle Motorsports Park. And it was fun. It was really fun to kind of watch. This year, with it being junior edition, I think obviously brought in less people. Only 20 teams were put together, where I think last year was like 40, if not 50 people did it, or teams did it. So I think that kind of limited the size because it was only junior drivers doing it, but it was still good fun to watch. A lot of the same teams and people were involved with it. Some did better than they did last year. Some did worse than they did last year. So that's kind of the fun part. But again, a very unique addition to the Grand Nationals. And then this year was Derek Wargo picking up the big victory by 39 thousandths of a second at the line, ahead of Carter Barkis for the 1-2 finish.
And by the way, let's just welcomed at the line by the flaming flags of Jason Burgess.
Yeah, it didn't quite flame as he wanted, as much flame. I think he wanted them to last a little bit longer, but still a cool idea for him to do that. And very, very unique for Jason Burgess, as always.
A little insight into you. It's going to happen again. And this plan's already to make it better.
Oh yeah, you got 365 days to make it better. Why not test?
But he actually started the next day. I'm a little bit on the inside on this, so get ready. he's already. I think he's already got the solution. Let's put it that way.
Is he lighting you on fire? Or are we going to see you run across the racetrack on fire?
Wow. No.
Well, come on. Like stunt doubles, right?
Yeah, that's not it. That's not.
No. Oh, okay. I mean, that would be actually pretty cool.
It would work. It would be cool.
Right, you could have instead of lighting the flame or the flags, you actually light the flagman on fire.
Actually, you light Jason on fire.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Why not?
You are sick.
Well, I mean, we do it cautiously and professionally, where we,
pull the Bill Simpson and sit in your own suit right there on fire. Yeah.
There we go. Stilo, Simpson. We could definitely make a sponsorship out of it.
There you have it. All right, folks. Off to another break. When we get back, Odenthal Racing Products will bring you the race report. Is IndyCar your dream? If it is, for 2024 and beyond, the path from karting to IndyCar has gotten even clearer. It's time to look into the new USF Juniors program and the Tatis JR23. As a first step of the USF Pro Championships presented by Continental Tires, the USF Junior Series will feature a 6-event, 13-race schedule to train racers for the move into the USF 2000 Championship presented by Continental Tires. 3 of the events in 2024 will run alongside IndyCar at Mid-Ohio, Road America, and Portland. The champion will win a scholarship worth over $263,000, and there's a total prize fund that will exceed $330,000. The series utilizes the state-of-the-art Tatis JR23 race car, which is a development version of the USF 22 used in USF 2000. It's the ideal entry point for career-minded karters moving into the car racing ladder. Safety is always front and center in the minds of the series promoters, and the new USF Juniors car also features the Halo, and races are supported by members of the AMR IndyCar safety team. If IndyCar is your goal, USF Juniors is the starting line. For more information, visit www.usfjuniors.com and follow USF Juniors on social media. History, success, family. Those are the 3 words that can describe Comet Kart Sales, one of the longest tenured karting businesses in the United States. The family-owned operation located just outside of Indianapolis has provided carts, parts, and services for thousands of racers in the near 6 decades of business. Their online store features everything you need, continually adding new parts to their product line. From full karting packages, new engines, spare or replacement parts, and safety gear, find it all at CometKartSales.com. Their Comet Racing Engine service has won multiple major events and championships over decades of karting and continues to offer the best trackside service in the industry, specializing in IAME X30, IAME Swift, and other 2-cycle power plants. Make sure to head to CometKartSales.com or call them at 317-462-3413 to be part of the Comet Kart Sales family today. Welcome back to episode number 156 of the EKN Debrief. My name is Rob Howden, joined by David Cole as we dive into our race report of the CKNA Grand Nationals 9, the event that happened just this past weekend at Newcastle Motorsports Park. Over 530 entries logged for the event. Time to get into the race report. We'll work our way through the categories as we always do. This race report presented today by Odenthal Racing Products. Motor mounts are critical to producing 100% of the power your engine has to get you on the podium each and every time. Odenthal Racing Products provides the best in the karting market today. Odenthal Racing Products is a family-owned and operated business with decades of karting experience, providing products with unmatched quality and value for the karting market. Check out their Pro Series mount for 2-cycle engines and their 4-cycle Easy Set for the Briggs & Stratton 206 power plant. Head to OdenthalRacing.com and find a dealer near you. Odenthal Racing Products, made in the USA. All right, David, let's start off with that massive category. Over 100 drivers in the senior medium class. Here's the headline. David will fill you in on what happened on the racetrack because for the most part, I was busy myself, but David's got lots of information for you. The headline is Zimmerman takes emotional first career victory.
Yes, senior medium, as we talked about, and by the numbers and the outlap, the headline category, the largest at 104 drivers taking part of it, a wild one. James Overback leading the way in qualifying on Friday, a 112.548. And I believe this was one of the morning class. No, I'm trying to think. Yes, morning classes. So they qualified in the probably the normal time you would expect to see some qualifying. But Overbeck did not win a heat race. Did not see him take a checkered flag first in any of the 3 rounds of heat races for this category. It was actually 5 different winners over the 6 heat races. We did have Christopher McKeithen and Eli Warren picking up the first round of heat wins on Friday before Dylan Munson picked up 2 of his own in heat 2 and heat 3. While Cale Zimmerman and Colin Warren picked up a win each as well. So 5 different heat winners over the 6 heat races. The 2 wins by Munson put him on the pole position next to Henry Wheeler on the outside of the front row. Cale Zimmerman and Eli Warren in row 2 with James Overbeck starting in P5. Get into the main event, Rob, and that's when the temperatures were high. I have two sources. One says it was 87 degrees. Another one says it was 90 degrees. So it was hot.
I didn't feel that. It was hot.
Well, you sat in the air after you were done racing.
Oh, anyway. Dude, trust me. No, I sat in the garage dying.
Anyway, so 15-lap main event for senior medium, the last race of the day on Sunday. Eli Warren led the majority of the race with Cale Zimmerman working his way up into the second spot. After starting third. It really didn't get exciting until essentially the last lap. That's when Zimmerman got alongside Warren on the exit of the green corner. Zimmerman was able to keep that inside spot going into scoreboard, came out of there with the lead, and then held on through the final few corners. A little bit of chaos behind him helped.
Yeah.
Did get Zimmerman to be able to cross the line unchallenged for the victory, winning by just over half a second to score his first career victory at the CKNA Grand Nationals.
Yeah, James, again, the guys were in the fight up front, Overbeck, Warren, Amundsen, Wheeler. The fight was fantastic. And as we know, the way things shake down at Newcastle, made the block start happen late. The front pack was drafting like crazy. These guys were over, under everywhere, through scoreboard. They were kind of thinking of going to the inside. I think one pass was made going into the right-hander for the Mons of the shark fin. It was just great stuff. Overbeck ends up coming out in second, Warren in third, Amundsen in fourth, and Wheeler rounds out the top five. David, more stats, though, and some more part of the emotions, because if anybody watched on Kart Chase, you could see that Kale, when he came to a stop, even before he'd come to a stop, the emotions were there, already starting to boil over with everything that really comes along with this victory of his.
Yes. Kale Zimmerman dedicated the win to Josh Fine, the former racer himself. Carter raced alongside Kale, a good friend of his who passed away a couple weeks ago following a car incident. It was a very emotional win. Obviously, first career. Dedicated the win to Josh as well. So that was a very big moment. But also, Kale and his father, Grant, become the first father-son duo to win at the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals. Grant, his father, is a former two-time winner in 2017 and a winner in 2018. So very unique stat, and they will definitely be in the record books for a long time as the first father and son duo.
David, I talked about the fact that there was a lot of action on the final run to the line, final lap essentially, but so there was actually some contact online that did affect the results a little bit, correct?
Yes, you missed out in our top five rundown. Yeah. It was actually Henry Wheeler crossing the line in the fourth spot, but he was docked one position for contact that involved Dylan Amundsen in the, I believe, what was a final lap in the final corner when those two got together. Yep. Amundsen moved up into the fourth spot and Wheeler back to fifth.
All right, let's move into Senior Light. A lot of chatter right now on social media about this one for sure. We'll go into it when David goes through the entire event itself. Let's have a look at Senior Light. The headline: McKeithen keeps victory after penalty overturn.
Yeah, Rob, this was the wild one. This was quite interesting. All day or all weekend, we thought it was going to be Colin Warren's to kind of win. He came out of qualifying with a 1:11.823, a very solid lap, the quickest qualifying lap of the event. And Warren did win two heat races, one opening round alongside Christopher McKeithen. Again, this group split up in the ABCD heat format. So Warren and McKeithen winning their opening round. They came back the next day to win the second round, McKeithen and Warren. And then the heat three, it was McKeithen taking the heat race win, with Warren going unable to win that one, while Will Lauer won the other heat race. So that gave McKeithen 3 wins over the 3 rounds of heat races and the pole position for the main event. Colin Warren on the outside of the front row, Cade Jagger and Cameron Reed in row 2, while Will Lawler started in the 5th position. Essentially, the race was 3-driver breakaway. You had McKeithen, Colin Warren, and Eli Warren, who started back in 6th, essentially breaking away from the rest of the field. The interesting scenarios came down to around lap 13. Eli Warren had just taken the lead. McKeithen fought back through the following lap. I believe it was the cell tower corner where he came and took the lead. As they kind of slowed down, Colin Warren was able to take advantage, kind of slipping by both of them. And as they hit the kink turn before turn 11 kink corner, Warren was to the inside, grabbed the lead, and was ahead of McKeithen going into the green corner. McKeithen attempted a move, wasn't quite there. Contact was made with the left front hitting the right rear of Colin Warren. That sent Warren off the racetrack. Eli Warren was then able to take over the lead, getting by both of them. But McKeithen on the final lap was able to get by Eli Warren. I hate that they have the same last name.
It makes it tough, doesn't it?
It makes it tougher. So McKeithen took over the lead on the last lap. Eli Warren, believing, again, this is what he said after the race, believing a penalty was coming, didn't challenge McKeithen or try anything too drastically to take the lead over on the last lap. McKeithen thus came across the line as the provisional winner with Eli Warren in second. And that's how they crossed the line. Now,
remember too, just throw this in there. While that's happening, because all the action, Will Lawler was right there as well. So they were.
He was,
on top of
yes.
each other. Like Lawler, I thought Lawler actually may be able to make a move on Warren. Like I was like, Warren, you got to maybe want to try this, Eli, because I thought Lawler was maybe going to throw it to the inside of the shark fin. So just to say, it wasn't just a 2-driver battle at the end. Lawler got himself in there.
I did, yes. I don't know. Yes, I do have that in the results. Okay,
yeah,
I was looking at something
closely.
else. Yeah. So yeah, that was kind of the thing. If, excuse me, my lunch was not agreeing with me. Again, Warren's Eli Warren was getting pressured by Lawler, so that was a big part of it. So why force something on McKeithen when, quote unquote, he felt like the victory was his because there was penalty was coming. I get that, but also Lawler was there. He could have gotten by both of them, which would have ruined everything for Eli Warren. So yeah, that was an interesting scenario how that last lap finished. Let's break down the rest of it and we get into our opinions. But yeah, so provisionally it was McKeithen, Eli Warren, Lawler finishing 1, 2, 3. After the podium, I think they did the podium that way. And then a penalty came down on McKeithen, ruling him to have avoidable contact, taking the win away, giving it to Eli Warren. That penalty was protested, and the penalty was overturned. Officials gave back McKeithen the victory, and he is the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals 9 winner in senior light.
Yeah, so the official results are McKeithen, Warren, Lawler, then Yeager and Ramos. Diego Ramos finishing in the 4th spot, Cade Yeager coming home in 4th. So that was 4th and 5th. Lawler, of course, 3rd. So, and again, David, I think you kind of laid it out there when they first looked at it. This is one of the races I was watching. I was working around. I was getting myself packed up, throughout the day, so I didn't get a chance to watch all the main events. This is one I actually watched from the Champions Lounge high atop, turn number 1, and kind of had a really good view of it all. So indeed, they make the call, avoidable contact, as you said. Warren gets the lead. And then it comes down again to the protest afterwards and kind of who's sitting at the protest and how they can make a case for it, right? That's kind of what it comes down to. I think it might have been Paulie Massimino in there making the case for McKeithen. And again, I think I was surprised to hear that they'd overturned it again. And I think watching the video as well, we'll come to you first. What are your thoughts on kind of the way it all happened at the end there?
Well, if it followed the right process, they called the penalty. They protested.
Good point.
It followed the process. Now, I don't know if there's a process after that to, say for Colin for Colin Warren, really, because the penalty was because he was taken out of the race. But yeah, that's essentially what I saw. He was pushed off the racetrack and out of the race. I don't know what their video showed. Obviously, everybody has seen the onboard footage from Eli Warren's camera viewpoint, showing the left front making contact with the right rear. And that is what I deem to be avoidable contact. Again, you call it whatever you want, or incident responsibility, all of that. It wasn't side-to-side contact. It wasn't anything non-penalty wise. I would have called a penalty on this 100% of the time based on the onboard video. Again, we haven't seen what the officials saw. We don't even know what the on-track people say. That's, big picture, Rob. That's the big question I kind of have, because this is the first time I've actually covered the event. So I got to kind of see, again, the behind the scenes stuff a little bit more than what I'm used to, because most of the time I'm out there, fighting for 20th. So, this along with the other class we'll talk about are kind of roundtable things. I don't want to go too deep into it, but yes, what I saw was a penalty that should have been called a penalty and should not have been overturned. Is it a mistake? Yes. Does that happen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Let me add a caveat to that, because I think you said it correctly. and this is where I would say, 'cause of course, like everybody else, the only thing I have seen is what either me visually from where I was, right, which is outside turn one up at the Champions Lounge, watching where you can't really see that much at a green corner. All I saw was contact and Colin Warren going off. Then to see, like everybody has, the video on Facebook or whatever they're watching, where you see Eli Warren's in car. With that being my only frame of visual knowledge of it, like you said, there's cameras all over the place, supposedly. Well, not supposedly, but there's cameras all over the place. I don't know their placement, so we don't. With the tools I'm given, the visual I'm given, that one shot from the back, 100 in my mind, 100% avoidable contact, instant responsibility for McKeithen. It looked to me like Warren gave him even a little bit more room on the inside. It's left rear to right front contact. That's pretty much cut and dry. We didn't have any other visuals. I heard people say that Colin didn't give him racing room. I don't know really why you need to give that much of racing room when he had the corner turn in. It's, again, all from our particular vantage point of the one camera shot that I saw. If there was a camera in the other direction, maybe there's a different feeling on it.
Yeah, and I was on track when it happened. I was actually in scoreboard corner, so I was at least closer than you were, but we kind of had the same line of vision.
Yeah.
And from what I saw, it was a penalty. Anytime a driver goes off like that, it's got most of the time, 99% of the time, is a penalty. But you're right about the whole racing room. Looking at the onboard, he gave him plenty of room to jump over the curb. He just didn't jump over the curb when he came down to make his normal racing line. So again, the leader has the line unless you are there first, and he wasn't there first.
There you have it. Again, it's will for EKN be a learning opportunity, of course, using their new camera system. But as David said, at the very least, all the systems were in place on when protests could come and sitting down and talking to people. In the end, Christopher McKeithen comes away with the victory over Eli Warren, Lawler, Yeager, and Ramos.
And let's talk about the Ramos thing. He started 23rd, worked his way all the way up to P5, fast lap of the race. So. Boom. For the first time for the Brazilian at the four-cycle world, that was a great run for him.
There you go. Anything else before I move on to senior heavy?
No. All right.
It. Let's go to the headline. A name we've already talked about. McKeithen becomes 7th different winner in 7 years. Amazing stat.
Yeah, and this race was the first senior race of the order. So this was the first opportunity for all the senior drivers to get on the racetrack, at least in the main event time line on Sunday. But qualifying on Friday was led by Christopher McKeithen, 113.286. He was able to win 2 of the 3 heat races. The first over Wakefield and Overbeck, and then it was Overbeck and Wakefield. Excuse me. And then on the third heat race, Wakefield was able to beat out McKeithen for the win ahead of Owen Lloyd. That put McKeithen and Wakefield on the front row, with Overbeck and Lloyd in row 2, and then Eli Fox starting from the 5th position. Eli Fox, actually the driver to jump up into the lead early before McKeithen again took control, and he would go on to lead the final 10 laps, holding back the rest of the top 5 there for the rest of the main event, going on to win by 0.3 of a second over James Overbeck.
Yeah, it was a PPK BJR Coyote 1-2. McKeithen and Overbeck 1st and 2nd, Fox 3rd, Lloyd in 4th, and Wakefield rounding out the top 5. Senior heavy. David, anything else to add to that one?
Yeah, it looked like Fox had a really good pace there. I thought he was going to be the guy to go. I'm surprised he and Lloyd didn't work together. Obviously you had 3 Coyote teammates together. Those 2 are both on MGMs. It just seemed like those 2 didn't really work well together to kind of be able to go after McKeithen and Overbeck. But again, they ran really strong. That was, it was very tough to get by McKeithen and Overbeck, and Wakefield was up there as well too. But it looked like pace-wise, I think Eli really had the pace to maybe kind of pull off the upset.
Just didn't come away with it. As David said, off to another break. When we get back, we'll continue this Odenthal Racing Products race report from the CKNA GN5, the Grand Nationals 9, rather, not 5, Rob, 9. We've got Junior, Legends, and Masters in the next section. Winning takes top quality equipment, flawless preparation, experienced coaching, and passion. And at Team GFC, we live our passion. Developed by American karting champion Gary Carlton, the GFC chassis has become one of the newest brands to reach the top of the podium in North America. GFC has garnered victories and championships at all levels of the sport since its debut at the end of 2018. Shifter car drivers are at the front of the field in the GT14 frame, with the SS31 a consistent contender in tag and 100cc competition. Team GFC has arrive and drive packages available for all categories, including the mini and micro classes utilizing the GFC RR5 cadet chassis. These young pilots have the opportunity to be part of the Team GFC Young Driver Development Program. Learn from one of the best American karters with 28 years racing at the highest levels of the sport, offering personalized training on and off the track. Follow GFC Karting on Facebook and Instagram, or click over to gfckarting.com to learn more about joining Team GFC. GFC, live your passion. For over 90 years, DID has been the leading manufacturer for high-quality on- and off-road chain use. DID has been chosen by the top powersport athletes from all over the world and is continuing to grow every day. From the karting track or your off-road adventures to your long street bike trips, DID has a chain to fit your needs. Their kart chain lineup offers variations of chains from high-performance sealed chains to the industry-leading non-sealed 219 HTZ chain. The DID SDH pin treatment is the unique design that allows for a lighter chain for less rotational mass, while still keeping a high tensile strength for peak performance. If you're in the need for a high-quality chain, DID has a chain for all makes and models. With our cutting-edge chain lineup, take your ride to the next level with DID. Visit didchain.com to find a dealer near you. Back at it here with the debrief for Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals 9. Rob Howden alongside David Cole. We have wrapped up the senior categories. We'll move and continue with the race report brought to you by Odenthal Racing Products. We'll move to the junior category. And David, speaking of a close one, how about this? Tutwiler declared winner in photo finish.
Yeah, this one went down to the wire and beyond for deciding this year's winner. It was Sawyer Chambers, the driver out of Texas, picking up fast time and qualifying a 1:13.470. Unfortunately, he was not able to pick up a heat win over the course of the 3 rounds of racing. It was Brady Shad and Travis Pettit picking up the wins in the night races on Friday before Sam Tutwiler picked up 2 wins on Saturday, while Hudson Jack Erlin and Jack Feber picked up the other heat wins. So it was Tutwiler with the 2 heat race wins on the pole position alongside Brady Shad. Travis Pettit, Will Wilkie, and AJ Stoner made up the top 5 starters. Essentially, they were the drivers to get away. It was AJ Stoner replacing Will Wilkie in the top 5 as those 5 drivers went back and forth, lots of shuffling. You had Shad, Stoner, Tutwiler, and Pettit all lead over the course of the 15 laps. It was Tutwiler back into the lead at the white flag before Brady Shad took the lead through the first half of the final lap. Then it became a drag race between those two. Coming to the line, Tutwiler went to the inside of Shad, who went on the defensive line, but left just enough room for Tutwiler to get under. And as they reached the finish line, the two made a little bit of contact. If you look at some of the photos and video, obviously, of the finish, according to the scoring loop, it was Brady Shad winning by 13 thousandths of a second. But after officials looked at video, I believe a protest was filed for them to do it. I'm not exactly sure of the actual procedure that was followed here, but officials essentially looked at video and photo and ruled that it was Tutwiler that reached the line first, and he was awarded the win.
We've seen that before, actually, at Newcastle Motorsports Park. I go back to the SCUSA Pro Tour Junior Summer Nationals, where it was Brandon Lemke and David Malukas, actually a new Penske driver, went side by side across the line. The live timing, the timing and scoring had given the win to Malukas, but it was actually Lemke by 1.5 feet. So I don't think people realize, we have the transponders, but there is a margin of error with those transponders coming across a line like that. It's as you come over top of the loop, there's going to be, that whatever the give or take is that they deem acceptable. So it's always been, hey, if it's a photo finish, you got to have a GoPro or a camera or something down there to visually state who's going to come away with the victory. And David, I think obviously it's you. Listen, you and I both looked at the video at the shot you've done. It was so close to figure out. I think you and I both, and I was just looking at it from our angle, believed that Tutwiler won it as well from the shot that we looked at.
Yeah, from our unofficial photo of it, it did look like Tutwiler got his left edge as they were making contact, his left edge across the line before Shad did. So I think this one is the right way. I wish it would have been, obviously saw a photo or a close finish like this. Let's review it right away. Let's not let everything just go to transponders when you have a tight finish just like that.
True. I
think that's where the failure and process kind of came about with that, because Brady Chad believed he won, and that's the kind of the hard part of it, because again, I struggle to find it being 13 thousandths. I would have thought it'd been more like 3 thousandths
or 1 or 2
or 1 or 2. Exactly. Well, I'm looking at get rid of the 100th, but at least be 3 thousandths of a second.
Yep. Agreed. 100%.
So this is where my biggest pet peeve is, where their weights above or below the transponder. We don't know. There's something that, again, we got to have the transponders be clear of any kind of metal or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And I guarantee the transponder was probably mounted high above weights. Well, unfortunately the transponder has a signal, and when it doesn't go through metal. So was it lacking the ability to hit the scoring loop at the right amount of time that the other one wasn't? That's where I'd like, hey, let's impound these carts. Let's figure this stuff out. But I'm not in control of the organization or karting.
Bottom line is officially Tutwiler coming away with the win. Shad second, AJ Stoner third. Ezekiel Height started ninth, worked his way up into the fourth spot. And Will Wilkie, who, as we said, started fourth position, ended up P5 in the final standings.
All right. I think there was a penalty. Yes, there was a penalty. Pettit was... I forgot to mark this down. Pettit actually crossed the line. Got to remember, that's what my asterisk means, Rob.
Yeah, well, the asterisk, I went with the asterisk for the fact that you didn't mention what you had in the notes.
Yeah. The P4 was actually Travis Pettit. He was penalized 3 positions for contact. So that brought Ezekiel Height up into 4th, and Will Wilkie up into the 5th spot.
There you go. David finally giving us his information.
I wrote this 5 minutes ago, Rob.
We'll move to you were kind of busy yesterday driving, I guess. Let's move to Legends. I obviously won't be able to talk about this race at all because I wasn't close enough to see what happened up front. Here's the headline: 4th straight victory for Cassidy.
And no penalties to speak of, too.
I know, in the main event, I kept looking. There's no penalties at all. Not even a tram line.
Not even a tram. I'm sure there had to have been a tram line. Come on, you guys can't see, right?
I'll go look right now. While we're on this, I'll go have a look.
So, yes, Ryan Cassidy, the 3-time defending winner, actually didn't get a perfect score, as it was Todd Bolton picking up the fast time in qualifying, a 1:13.498. Bolton ran second to Cassidy in the opening heat race, with Doug Cook finishing in 3rd. But trouble for Bolton in the second heat race, as he had an engine issue, which slowed his pace.
Carburetor.
He ended up actually finishing behind you. I'm not quite sure where you finished in heat 2, but fell way down the order. 14. And then eventually retired in heat number 3 as well. So he had to start the race way back in the main event. But that allowed Cassidy to go on to pick up the heat race wins and earn the pole position for the main event. Doug Cook starting in 2nd, Tim Schutt in 3rd, John O'Keefe, the local driver, in 4th, and then the Canadian Eli Yanko in the 5th position. So up front, it was Cassidy jumping away with Tim Schutt. They ran 1-2 for the entire race. Schutt was on his bumper early on and about the halfway point, just lost the draft, was not able to keep up with Cassidy. And it was actually Cassidy putting down the fast lap of the race on lap 13, eventually stretching out his advantage to 2.690 seconds to earn a 4th straight victory in the Legends category.
It's a good race behind them as well. If I'm not mistaken, David, I talked to Scott Falcone right in there with a fight with Insco and Yanko for the final couple spots on the podium too, right?
Yeah, it was, again, Schutt running in the 2nd spot. The battle was really for 3rd. It was early on, it was Yanko and Cook there before James Insco and Scott Falcone were able to push forward and take over those 2 positions. That dropped Yanko to the 5th position on the podium, and Cook, out of the top 5.
Yeah, all in all, like you said, a good main. I went back and looked, no penalties at all in the main event for the drivers in Legends, not even a tram line. So, yeah.
What are you talking about? I see one right here, tram line violation, 2 wheels out.
I'm looking at Legends Grand Final, and there's on raceselect.com, and there's not a thing there.
Well, that's why Race Select doesn't have penalties, Rob. You got to go to My Lap. Sorry.
Okay, David, I went like everybody else on the weekend to the Grands 9 penalty board link where everybody went. Everything's there, and there was nothing on here. So maybe it's just not. Look, everything else is on here.
Well, like we keep talking about, it was Race Select is under construction, so there's definitely things they got to work on.
This is the official Cup Karts page. Everything else on there for Legends Heat number 3. Again, nothing. There's nothing on here for grand finals.
Right, we'll have a conversation
page of the website, David.
I know. We'll have a discussion off track or off show to tell you about.
Hey, I will throw this out there. I got a chance. I was in the top 10 for one session at one point in practice. I was kind of just outside between. I was anywhere between 12th and 17th all weekend. I had I raced around pretty much the same guys throughout the weekend. Mike Stevenson, Brian Berger, Todd Davis, Rod Clenard. Man, we had some great racing back and forth, and we all came in at the end of that race. I finished, I think I ended up finishing 14th, and we were just kind of high-fiving each other and just saying, you know what, that was it. We just had clean racing all weekend long. We were inside each other, outside each other. It was, I got taken out in the 3rd heat. I got hit into turn number 5. I was able to right myself, and then the chaos continued for the next 3 corners. And I think I lost about 15 or 16 spots in the spin, but gained back 10 or 11 of them, or if not more, by the time I got out of Cell Tower. All in all, where I was racing, the racing was really good. I had good battles with Jamie MacArthur, Tim Stiefel. We were all kind of all together working together. I felt like other than that heat race, all that chaos that allowed me to get through, the Legends guys maybe had a bit of a cleaner year than we did in years past.
Yeah, I thought it was good racing in the Legends for sure. Again, the pace is so fast with Cassidy putting down, and even Todd Bolton, who started back. I'm trying to look here.
He was fast. He was probably. I started 13th. He was probably. He was on the
19th.
inside. Probably
Started 19th. So 19th to be able to work up to 7th. Give him a couple more laps, he probably would have been in 5th, if not one more lap. So because of all that fighting for position there. So obviously. That's kind of the Grand Nationals. You got to be consistent across the board to be able to be there in the end. And unfortunately for him, just the mechanical issues that set him back.
2 heat races, yeah. All told, I wanted to be top 20 when I came in, ended up 14th, so I'm happy with the way my weekend went. Hardly a mark on my go-kart when it was all said and done.
Yeah, other than that spin in turn 3 or turn 5 in heat 3.
Other than that was it.
But I mean, you look at the guys you did beat that have been racing all year long. Not bad for the old guy from e-karting news.
That's it. Not too shabby. Let's go to Masters. Headline: Cassidy awarded victory after penalty to Fagan.
Yeah, this was another class that had discussions going into the night with protests and other things to talk about trying to decide the final order. But there was no doubt that the guys up front were super fast, including Chris Carroll, who put down a 1:13.597 to end up with the top qualifier honor. But it was Eric Fagan, the former class winner, who was quicker in the heat races, picking up the 2 wins, or 2 of the first 2. Can't even talk right now. Picking up the first 2 heat race wins. The first ahead of Carroll, the second ahead of Mark Steele. And then the second heat, it was ahead of Steele and Carroll, swapping positions. To note, the second heat and third heat for Steele, who ended up winning in heat number 3, was after his incident he had in senior heavy. There was a very hard hit he took with a block track in the senior heavy heat, I think heat 3 heat, and actually had to go to the ambulance, got his ribs banged up a little bit as he came up and hit the steering wheel. Wind knocked out of him for sure, but he muscled through and then came back and won a heat race ahead of Carroll and AJ Cotolata. So ended up being Fagan with the 2 heat race wins on the pole position alongside Mark Steele, Carroll and Cotolata in row 2, and then Ryan Cassidy, the Legends top driver, in the 5th position. The main event was a 4-driver breakaway. You saw Fagan, Steele, Carroll, and Cassidy breaking away as Cotolata fell back and was essentially fighting for positions in a second race group. The field, that was a crazy thing, Rob. The field was pretty put together for about the first half of the race. Would you agree?
Yeah. I thought it was really, like, the guys were running nose to tail. It was good stuff. They were moves in and out. Got exciting at the end, that's for sure.
Yeah, about the halfway point is when things started to heat up. Obviously, the top 4 drivers were able to break away, but that's when the position changing started to happen. Steele took the lead, and then Carroll took his turn, while Fagan got pushed back all the way to 4th, but worked his way back up into the lead by lap 12. Coming to the white flag, Fagan went on the defensive line down the front straightaway, and Carroll went all the way to the inside, essentially putting his left 2 wheels in the grass to try and get by, was alongside of him in the grass. The 2 made contact.
Well, say it. Fagan was pinching him.
Well, again, it was very tough for me. I didn't see what was happening down the straightaway. I didn't look until it was too late, so I don't know exactly what happened there. So I will just say what I saw of it right now. Okay. But yeah, it was a defensive line. It looked like Carroll was alongside of him, at least up to his rear tires. And Carroll put his left wheels into the grass. The 2 made contact. Fagan got essentially sideways by the apex point, pushed wide. This allowed Steele to kind of go through those 2 drivers
over under,
taking the lead. And it looked, as we all saw that happen, we just assumed it was Steele's race, nothing else to look at.
For sure.
They get through to the green corner, where I guess a lot of things happened all weekend long, especially on Sunday. And Steele comes out slow. He drops a wheel on the exit. Cassidy, who is in second, comes alongside of him. They go side by side in the scoreboard. Cassidy comes out with the lead. Steele fights right back going into the Monza in the last corner. They push wide. Fagan dives under both of them, comes down the to the finish line with the lead, and takes the provisional win.
Quick question. Did Fagan not get the pass done on the entry to the Monza, to the shark fin? I thought he got I thought
it was the last corner.
I think they were slowed because I think when Cassidy went to the inside of Mark Steele after he dropped the wheel, they were banging on each other. They were leaning on each other. I think Fagan did the over-under coming out of scoreboard, and he beat them over to the inside of the right-hand turn into the shark fin. I'm pretty sure that's
it was either the shark fin or the last corner. One or the other. They got side by side.
He slipped through.
Like I said, they were definitely on top of each other. Mm-hmm. Cassidy did have the advantage coming out of scoreboard, but I think Steele put it right back to him going into Monza area. And I thought it was in the last corner where they pushed wide and he came under him.
I don't think so,
but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Fagan got to the inside because
I'm wrong all the time, as you tell me.
No, I was standing with James Perkins, and I'll just throw this out there before you finish it all off. when they came out of Cell Tower with Steele leading by 4 or 5 kart lengths, we both said it's done. I said Mark Steele doesn't make mistakes, and then he dropped the wheel, and James and I were like, "What just happened?" And then, of course, all hell breaks loose over the next bunch of corners.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And so Fagan comes across the line first. Excuse me. Sorry, something not right with me. So he comes across the line first, crossing the line by 76 thousandths of a second over Cassidy. They do the whole podium ceremony, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And officials rule 3-position penalty for blocking to Fagan. So that takes the lead or the victory away from Fagan, puts him back to 4th, gives Ryan Cassidy the victory. Fagan does the protest. They do not overturn. And Ryan Cassidy leaves Newcastle as a double winner on the weekend and the first ever driver to win both Legends and Masters at the Grand Nationals.
Wow. So look, I'll throw your results out here. You got Sean Meyer coming in 2nd, Mark Steele in 3rd, Fagan 4th, and Chris Carroll in 5th. Highlights Sean Meyer coming from deep in the field, 22nd up to P2. David, can you go check the official results? Because the last thing you have here is Jamie Bradford, who started all the way back in 27th, got up to P6. Did I not see somewhere on social that they may have given him 5th, or was that a different class?
I don't know what he's P6. I'm looking at the official results right now. Yeah, Sean Mayer was able to take advantage of all the chaos that happened on that final lap. He was actually running in the 5th position, had just gotten to that point after coming all the way up from 23rd. And again, when Fagan and Carroll got together, I think he got by Carroll and then got by Steele coming down to the line. So yeah, Mayer actually crossing the line in the 3rd spot behind Cassidy, and promoted to 2nd. Again, Fagan sitting 4th after the 3 positions for blocking. That moved him behind Steele. Chris Carroll coming across the line in 5th, and then Jamie Bradford, fast lap of the race, in the 6th position.
Yeah, I thought I saw somebody post that he had got to P5, and I can't remember who it was right now off the top of my head. So no, I mean, it was one of his crew members. That's why I'm saying it to you. But obviously not. You're saying it was P6. All right,
I have the official results.
I'll go look at that later and find out what happened there and find out exactly why they would have said that. Anyways, where do you want to wrap this one up? Yeah, I guess the bottom line is it's just an uncharacteristic mistake for Mark Steele ends up putting him back in 3rd spot. I mean, I thought for sure he was going to walk through that one.
Yeah, it would have been a 3 straight wins for Steele to if he had gotten through to that final lap and made the checker flag first. But again, that's part of racing. Again, not everybody's perfect. I'm not even Cassidy. We've seen him make mistakes before in the past. So unfortunately for Cassidy, none of them are on Sundays. So so that's again, Mark Steele, I think, I couldn't even talk to him. I could see the frustration in himself after the checkered flag. So again, very tough to handle, but he'll come back hungrier than ever next year.
And let's throw this out there. He took the blame for it immediately. Straight up said that my guys, I'm sorry, my mistake. Let that one go. And that's another 100% Mark Steele thing, right? He took full blame for the minor error. It doesn't take much when you've got guys like that behind you. And man, all I've got to do is get through this corner. I'm gonna be fine. It just doesn't take much to make.
Yeah, the only thing I'd ask is, did you look back? Did you see the gap? Because he had a pretty good gap.
He did.
I almost feel like he didn't look back because he thought, Cassidy or somebody would be right on him.
There. Yep.
And so he probably pushed that corner just a little bit too much.
And he didn't have to.
So
yeah. All right, another break, folks. When we come back, we'll wrap up the race report. We'll talk sportsman, cadet, and kid kart. Ready to step up your game? Joining the Rawlison Performance Group is the obvious choice to take your racing to the next level. Industry-leading driver development is provided by our staff of multi-time national champions, Super Nationals winners, and Team USA members. And at the same time, RPG continues to be a national-level powerhouse race team. Our goal is to help you raise your game and win races. We work with all age groups and are focused on developing those cadet and junior drivers who are ready to take the next step in their racing program. Rawlison Performance Group has set a new standard with our in-house engine program, AVP Engines, headed by Alex Vincent. AVP has become the benchmark in IME competition. We have the largest OTK inventory that follows our race team, providing trackside parts at all the major events in North America. RPG also offers multilingual support with French, Spanish, and Portuguese-speaking staff. If you want to fight for championships or want to improve your skills and your chances to win, the answer is to call RPG at 503-260-4514. The Rawlson Performance Group. We race to win.
I'm Ken Unger, president of Charge and a sponsorship strategist who's helped drivers and teams unlock sponsorship success for over 2 decades, from IndyCar and NASCAR to grassroots karting. In karting, horsepower is great, but sponsorship power, that's how you really move up the grid. Whether you're a parent fueling your driver's dreams or an 18-year-old ready to take the next step in your career, my sponsorship success method is your secret weapon. I'll show you how to build your brand, pitch like a pro, and turn maybe next year into let's sign today. Ready to land your first sponsor? Visit sponsorshipsuccessmethod.com and start your journey to sponsorship success today. That's sponsorshipsuccessmethod.com.
Welcome back to episode number 156 of the EKN Debrief as we dive into the CKNA Grand Nationals 9, our race report part of our trackside coverage. Rob Howden here with David Cole, who, of course, covered the race throughout the weekend. Did not don the helmet this particular edition. Let's go now as we continue into we'll wrap up the race report brought to you by Odenthal Racing Products. Sportsman, that category. The headline. How do you say that last name? Fichtinger?
Fichtinger.
Fichtinger. I don't think I've ever said that name. Fichtinger uses last lap pass for victory. We will now. Guy's a winner. Let's go.
Well, now that's exactly it. Was the top qualifier as well. A 113.915 put him on the top qualifier honor for the sportsman division. He actually came through and won the opening 2 rounds of heat races. And it was really the top 3 drivers locked together all weekend long. So you had Fichtinger winning both heat races, the first ahead of RJ Brown and Donna McGaddis, and then it was Gaddis up to second and RJ Brown in third. And then in heat number 3, Gaddis was able to get the win ahead of Fichtinger with RJ Brown sitting there in third. So imagine that. It'd be Fichtinger, Gaddis, and Brown starting the main event from 1, 2, and 3. Aston Wyatt starting 4th, and then Hayden Lawson starting in the 5th position. And again, it was top 5 together. So you had Fichtinger, Gaddis, Brown, Wyatt, but then it was Laney Thigpen that replaced Hayden Lawson in the lead group. Those 5 were essentially together the whole way around. Gaddis actually took the lead early. Fichtinger fell back to 3rd in the early laps before getting up into 2nd and was locked on Gaddis's rear bumper the entire time until that last lap. Where Fichtinger took the lead in the back section of the racetrack and was able to hold on through the final corners, winning the drag race to the line by 51 thousandths of a second for a MPG Kart Republic 1-2 finish. Fichtinger first, Gaddis in second.
That's big. RJ Brown coming home in the 3rd spot. Aston Wyatt in fourth. And as David said, Laney Thigpen capping off the top 5. Good stuff there, Fichtinger. Again, I've read the name before. David, you've talked about the fact you always type these names out. You never have to say them. Well, that's the first time we've talked about Will. And congratulations, man. He is now a CKNA Grand Nationals champion. Used to saying the name of the driver who ends up coming away in cadet. I followed his father when he first came over here to run F2000. Of course, would go on to be win championships all the way up. Indy Next being one of them, multi-time starter in Indy 500. Jay Howard we're talking about, but his son Hudson is now one of the top drivers here in the sport. Here's the headline for cadet, David. Howard sweeps weekend with career first.
Yeah, a really great performance by Hudson Howard at his home racetrack, taking the top position in every session, beginning with qualifying at 114.651 and winning all 3 heat races, the first ahead of Ruben Greer, the second heat race ahead of Yusuf Addy, and the 3rd heat race against Jackson Reinholtz. It was actually Grant Heckman starting on the outside of the front row, Ruben Greer in the 3rd spot, Addy in 4th, and then I forgot Farr's name. Sorry, I'm trying to pull it up right now.
I know you are. Click, 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 click,
click, click, click, click, click. Liam,
4. There you go.
4, starting in the 5th position. Howard actually got shuffled back to 9th. So Cadet was the first main event to begin Sunday. Couple of botched attempts, and then finally got started. And Howard didn't quite get the start he wanted to, and fell back all the way to 9th on the opening circuit. So early on, there were 3 different lead drivers that led. It was Yusuf Addy, Jackson Reinholtz, and then Ruben Greer leading, all in their early laps. And that was until Hudson Howard worked his way all the way back up into the lead by lap number 6. At that time, he, along with Ruben Greer and Jackson Reinholtz, were able to push away from the rest of the group. And so it was just those 3 out front that decided the victory on the final circuit. Reinholtz went from 3rd to 1st in the cell tower corner on the final circuit, and was on the inside run to the flag down the long pond straight to the checkered flag. But Howard just had a little bit more momentum coming out of that last corner, was able to power past Reinholtz at the line, and it was a difference of 66 thousandths of a second for Howard to take the victory.
Yeah, my class legends was sitting on the grid for that when we were all kind of standing together. A bunch of us drivers were there watching of course, the last lap. And as Jackson came out of the cut through, he immediately went down almost like he kind of pinched some speed off coming out of the corner and came down to the bottom. He might have had a better shot at it had he stayed wide and maintained the speed. We all said, oh no, I think he just pinched it down too tight and scrubbed some speed off. And indeed, Howard able to go all the way to the outside of the track and beat him to the line, David, as you said, by just over 600ths of a second.
Yeah, not exactly the line you want to follow, but again, Cadet, one of the younger programs or categories in the event. A tough way to learn, but definitely a great performance by him.
So Reinholtz does end up coming home in the 2nd spot. Ruben Greer in 3rd. David, a little bit of change up 4th and 5th, though?
Yeah, we talked about Grant Heckman starting on the outside of the front row. He was actually docked 3 positions for a jump start penalty, crossing the starting line ahead of Howard. So his 4th place finish was down to a P7 in the final tally.
Yeah, it's always tough to see that. Let's wrap things up, folks. The youngest drivers of the CKNA Grand Nationals Kid Kart. Here is the headline. Romeo gives Canada only victory.
Yeah, the only Canadian to win at this year's Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals, Matteo Romeo. He actually swept the Kid Kart division, qualifying on pole, a 44.786 in that shortened track they do run at Newcastle Motorsports Park. He went on to win all 3 heat races, and then after 2 red flag starts, the race got started with a single file start for the main event, and Romeo went wire to wire for the victory to give LGK Chassis its first ever win at the Grand Nationals, and Matteo Romeo, a 2nd generation karter, a victory in the Kid Kart division. Yeah,
I had a chance to see his dad, Michael. He was actually a cadet driver when I first started as a journalist back in the late 90s. So good to see that family there. A great run for Matteo. Maddox Neves coming home in 2nd, Maverick Reddick in 3rd, William Heckman in 4th, and Mason Poole rounding out the top 5. Yeah, those 2 red flag restarts, I'll tell you, they were baking the boys there, the legend guys. Us 50-year-olds were baking in the sun. But thankfully, from what I heard, David, no major injuries from those red flags, right?
No, again, the Kid Karts, it's a tough thing. Anytime there's heavy contact or a kart on top of one of another, they do pull out the red flag. Yep. All the drivers did walk away. Maybe a hand might have been the worst injury of them. I think the rest, they were all just kind of shaken up. But yeah, 3 different chassis brands in the top 5, or 5 different chassis brands in the top 5.
Yeah, you're right, David. LGK, Tony Karts, CRG, VLR, and MGM all represented on the podium for Kit Kart. Final break of the action. We get back. We'll wrap things up for this edition of the EKN Debrief Constructors Championship, and of course, the EKN Trackside Live Race Calendar. What brand is known around the world for its innovation and success? It is Sony Kart. The Sodi brand returned in full force during the 2023 season thanks to a new exclusive importer, the karting distribution led by industry veteran Terry Germanovich. The French manufacturer Sodi Kart is a leader within the karting industry, offering a wide range of products and services. The Sodi Racing chassis line offers products in classes from mini karts to KZ, all based on years of development and championship seasons around the world. Sodi Racing USA has expanded its dealer network over the last year, bringing the Sodi brand to several local clubs and regional programs. Sodi USA by Velocity Racing is the official race team in the United States for the brand, hitting all the major events and series throughout the season. Visit Sodi-Racing-USA.com to learn more about the Sodi Kart chassis or call 954-634-5111 to become part of the Sodi Racing USA network today. Sodi Kart, the world leader in the karting industry. Let decades of experience and success lead you to the top of the podium. Join Brandon Jarsakrak Racing as your race team at the sport's major events in the United States. Brandon Jarsakrak is a 4-time United States Pro Kart Series champion, along with a multi-time Super Karts USA Pro Tour and WKA Manufacturers Cup Series race winner. Jarsakrak is ranked among one of the best from his generation to get behind the wheel of a racing kart. BJR provides full race team service and support at all USPKS, SCUSA, and Stars Championship Series events, along with trackside programs at the Trackhouse Motorplex in Mooresville, North Carolina. Partnering with Mike Doty Racing, Brandon's team of driver coaches and mechanics are passionate for the sport, providing decades of experience both on the track and working with many of today's karting standouts and current motorsport stars. Brandon Jarsakrak Racing offers a full range of services, including kart preparation, driver coaching, and race event support for both 2-cycle and 4-cycle competitors. BJR is an official LN Racing Kart team with OTK USA and is an official offset sport race team. Contact them today to develop a program based around your needs. Head to BrandonJarsakrak.com to learn more. Welcome back to the final segment of this edition of the Debrief as we cap off our trackside coverage for this year's Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals 9, the event that filled the final weekend of September down at Newcastle Motorsports Park, a packed house, over 530-something entries for the event. I got myself, Rob Howden, alongside David Cole. David had full coverage focused on that this year, while I continue to run in the Legends category. Let's wrap things up now, David, with, again, you talked about the fact only a couple of red flags really through the heat races, and only a couple of red flags on Sundays in the races as well.
Yeah, Kid Kart was the only red flags in the main event, so that was a positive. No major injuries in those, and no major wrecks. We did obviously the one in senior heavy we talked about with Mark Steele. I think he was the only injury in that wreck, but yeah, a lot of stuff was tore up in that race. But that was only really the big one. Aside from that, I thought, yeah, the rest of the heat races went by pretty good. I think maybe not running the Saturday night heat races might have helped save some of the red flag situations that we did see last year. Yeah. So, but overall, yeah, again, it's tough to get through this race with so many entries without a red flag.
So as we're sitting here, a couple days on from the race on a Tuesday after the events, the main events on Sunday, a lot of happy people that were able to win races, have solid finishes, but they have a lot of controversy as well, a lot of chatter back and forth. Obviously, one thing I'll bring up I thought was kind of interesting was when always watch social, right? I was done by the time the race came on for the senior medium guys, or senior medium with the craziness, right? When the penalty first came down to McKeithen on Colin Warren, obviously the big thing on social media was that because Colin Warren runs for VLR on the TS Racing, oh my God, they're a sponsor. This is BS, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, when it gets turned around, the comments are, PPK brings so many karts, Coyote, blah, blah, blah. It makes me laugh that they're always playing the somebody's getting favoritism on a call, right? Whatever it may be. It comes down to sitting down with race control, whatever it is. It's just the controversy was there. I just thought it was kind of interesting, the different voices that came out depending on which side the penalty went to.
Well, again, Rob, like I said, we can make this a roundtable. Probably should, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't
probably
know. Just because there's so many different angles to go with it. But, for people who do make those comments, I don't see them stepping up to be a race director.
Yeah,
that's one of the hardest positions to fill as a promoter. You look at all the different programs that have gone through different race directors and are trying to maintain stability with that. It's not easy. And part of it is because we do have such large fields, it makes it more difficult to be able to call penalties. So I think that's kind of the transition over the last couple of years. I think it's been they're not making any calls. Well, now they're making calls, so now people are heckling them because of the calls they're making.
Yeah.
So, and again, that is the kind of just had the word in my mind. The growth, the issues with growth,
growing pains.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say.
Got you.
So I feel that's part of it. Again, Cup Karts, the Grand Nationals when it first started was just about everybody getting together for an event. And kind of the theme I'm going with is this means so much to so many people to win. That's why there's so much pressure and so much focal point on this call and that call and everything that's going around it. So it means something. It's no different than the Super Nationals for Superkarts USA. It means something to win there. And so now to next year will be 10 years.
Dave,
it means something to somebody.
The prestige and the importance within the industry. Like, again, remember, there is to a certain extent win on Sunday, sell on Monday, right? So, again, people are trying to win races. There's a lot of money getting invested into this. Everybody's so not only financially, but emotionally involved, invested in this whole thing as well. And this is the race. Everybody wants to come away with the win. You saw the emotion on some of these drivers, whether it's Cale Zimmerman or Hudson Howard or whoever it is. The raw emotion is there for winning the biggest race you could possibly win if you're a Briggs driver. So indeed, like you're saying, this is key as the level of importance and prestige continues to increase. The people at CKNA are going to have to work even harder to make sure that they're providing the absolute best results in terms of officiating as well. They brought the cameras in. Well, the cameras are only one thing. You and I talked about it, David. They're tools, right? So again, there are a lot of procedures in place through SCUSA, USPKS, STARS, other organizations that have had cameras for a long time. Remember, you and I were there when SCUSA had their first cameras at New Orleans, NOLA Motorsports Park, and they had like 127 incident calls in the first time. Corner workers, I think at this level, aren't there to make calls, make sure the track is safe, get that yellow out, but if an incident happens, call it in. You and I talked a little bit about that, David, throughout the weekend. There's procedures that are going to have to get put together and the way they approach things that'll make things, I think, better next year now that they have the tools that they potentially need on this deal.
And again, like I said, this is my first time ever kind of seeing the behind the scenes stuff that goes on. And I think that's kind of the major focal point. And I think the CKNA officials understand that. They understand that now after this event, after last year, it's just when you get to almost 600 entries and you got 60 carts on the track at the same time, it's very tough to try and police that. And so whether it be we make the heat races smaller with smaller fields, if we start doing caps for classes where we don't have 100 carts in a class, there's a lot of different ways to look at this. But obviously, procedure is one thing, and implementing the right kind of culture, I guess, is another as well.
Yeah. David, you mentioned it. Let's cap off the wrap-up section with the fact that next year is a landmark. It's the 10th edition of this massive race.
Yeah, so we'll see what they have up for, changing anything, whether it be format, adding a day, lots of different ways they can go about this. Is night racing going to return? We'll see. Obviously Greg Jasperson likes to go from the hip and kind of do unique and interesting things. We'll see if they do that. What we do track wise, are we going to do a different layout? That's another option as well, with Newcastle Motorsports Park having about 100 billion zillion track layouts.
Right. All right, Dave, let's look at the Constructors' Championship. We talk about how important these wins are. There are only 9 categories on the weekend. Let's talk about the brands that came away with wins.
Yeah, 5 brands winning the 9 races, and Coyote leading the way with 4 wins, 2 with McKeithen and 2 with Cassidy. So 2 drivers picking up the 4 wins. Kart Republic picking up 2 as well, both in the cadet and sportsman divisions. VLR picking up a victory, that coming in the, why can't I think of it?
My mind just went totally blank.
My mind went totally blank too.
Cale Zimmerman.
Cale Zimmerman. Yes, there you go. The first race we talked about. See, the less controversial win.
That's right. That's right.
That was a VLR win. Burrell Art in the junior ranks, and then the LGK Karts again picking up victory in Kid Kart.
Let's go to the EKN Trackside Live race calendar, folks. We'll cap you off and where we're going to be, because really into Q4 right now. Not a lot of races left, but they're big ones. This, of course, brought to you by Stilo USA. As a world leader in personal racing safety products, Simpson Performance Products is now the official North American distributor for Stilo helmets. In addition to their popular auto racing helmets, Stilo is excited to have made their move into karting. Stilo has 3 helmets designed and manufactured specifically for karting: the ST5 CMR and the ST5 KRT helmets, including the new ST5 CMR Carbon. Complete your safety gear with the Stilo Carbon Curva Rib and Chest Protector. For more information, check them out at stilohelmets.com or by following them on social media at Stilo USA. All right, David, really, other than the fact that I'll be heading down to the PRI show in December, we've got 3 more races on the docket, and we are essentially going across the board in terms of manufacturers, right? We got Rotax, we got Rock, we got IAME.
Yeah, excited to hit all 3 big major events to close out the 2025 season. The race Rotax RMC US Trophy Final at Newcastle Motorsports Park. Just so heading right back to where we were, October 17th through the 19th.
After that, folks, we'll take our first trip to the Rock Vegas. So I will take my first trip to Rock Vegas for that event. David, you've been there before. That's October 28th to November the 2nd. I'm going to be down there on the broadcast team with DJ Clark and Jackson Lambros as well. Excited to get it down to the Rock Vegas event at the Rio Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. A lot of good things. They got some great stuff going on for the Rock Cup event. So really looking forward to that. We'll spend 2 weeks this year down in Las Vegas.
Yeah, excited to be part of the Rock Cup USA event at Rock Vegas at the Rio Hotel Casino, Las Vegas. And of course, Super Nationals 28, Super Karts USA, Super Nationals 28, heading to Las Vegas Motor Speedway, November 12th through the 16th. So yes, 3 major events. We got Rotax Grand Final tickets up for grabs. We got the essentially U.S. Championship for Rock Cup USA. And then, of course, the international event that is the Super Nationals.
Yeah, looking forward to my 28th edition of the Super Nats. Just close my eyes and think about back being at the Las Vegas Karting Center out there for those early days of the Super Nationals out in the cold, out in the desert. Now, of course, at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, looking forward to the air show coming out of Nellis Air Force Base throughout the week. That's always a ton of fun. But yeah, 28th edition of the Super Nationals will wrap up essentially our year of EKN trackside coverage here in 2025. David, final thoughts for this year's Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals 9 before we cap off this edition of the Debrief?
Yeah, I guess a lot to kind of unpack. Again, like I said, a roundtable might be good. We'll see if we can put one together.
I just wrote a bunch of notes down, by the way.
Yeah. Again, a major karting event for the world. Again, this is where Briggs and Stratton is based. We have the grassroots movement in effect. It's to see the event grow to this level is unbelievable. And again, there's still opportunity for it to get better, just like everything else, all programs as well too. So great racing, great time. Again, it's great getting together with a lot of the people we don't see except for at the Grand Nationals.
Very true. Yeah.
We've been going there since I've been going there since 2019. So yeah, it should be, and I hopefully we'll be seeing at least 9 more editions, if not more, in the future for sure.
No doubt about it. 10th one coming up next year, as David had mentioned. That wraps things up for our coverage from the CKNA Grand Nationals. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Thanks for everybody who came by and said hi throughout the weekend down at Newcastle Motorsports Park. David, of course, busted his tail throughout the week, getting everything done for you. All the race reports available on the website to have a look at the archive of what happened trackside. Controversy, a lot of great races, some deserving winners as well. All part of one of the biggest races in the world, the CKNA Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals 9. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Big shout out to all our sponsors of this podcast as well. On behalf of David Cole, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.